Darkside 380 here. Please give me a like, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and yeah, let's get into it. So tonight I'm going to be talking about the first known case of somebody selling their soul for fame, and the man who basically started the 27 Club. I mean, at least to my knowledge. Anyways, I'm talking about Robert Johnson, a man whose music still is influential to this day. I mean, a lot of musical acts, pay him homage for his guitar. Yeah, and this guy started off being garbage. People told him to stop playing because he was so bad. And ends up being one of the greatest guitar players of all time. Sounds a little fishy to me. I don't know about you guys. But anyways, Robert Johnson was born May 8th, 1911 in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. He was born to a stepfather who, really didn't want him. Robert actually never got to know his true father, his real father, and his mother already had 10 kids at this time. So, imagine being little Robert. His stepfather really doesn't want him, and his mom's got 10 kids, just trying to find his place amongst 10 other kids. That had to have been a rough childhood. And I'm sure poverty is not the word for it, especially being back in the early 1900s where it was hard enough being an African American in the States. So, I kind of don't even blame the dude for doing it. Don't get me wrong, I don't believe in selling your soul for fame, but when this guy probably saw no way out, so I kind of get it, I'm sure everybody's kind of been in a spot in their life where you just don't see a way out. His stepfather actually was a very wealthy landowner, but he was chased out of Hazelhurst by a lynch mob over some land issues. So, Robert ended up leaving, his mom ended up leaving, and they ended up going to Memphis. And this is where Robert started really being influenced by blues music. Really the South has always been the home of blues, but Memphis especially, that's blues country. I grew up listening to blues. My cousins actually got a pretty big band here in my area. So, being in Memphis, being around all the blues and stuff, Robert was like, this is for me. This is what I'm about to do with my life. So his mom ended up remarrying, and Robert moved with his mom to Arkansas. But eventually they found their way back to Mississippi. His stepfather wanted him to work in the fields, just his stepfather really wasn't seeing where playing the blues was going to pan out for Robert. You're not putting any money on the table. Hey, what are you doing? You're not making any money off these blues and stuff. And, you could be out in the field making some money. So, I would say that probably lit a fire under Robert. He got married at the age of 19. His wife happened to be 16. But a year later, she would end up passing when she was giving birth. So, he's 20 years old, got a dead wife. He's got a stepfather that really doesn't care for the dude. So, life was rough. I mean, that is extremely rough to be going through at that young age. Robert's stepfather happened to be 24 years younger than his mom. But around this time, Robert Johnson lived close to a blues icon by the name of Son House. Robert, like I said earlier, he would ask to, play their guitars and stuff while they were on break. And I mean, Son House is on record saying, Robert was that bad. Like, cut it out, bro. They thought he was terrible. So, Robert remarries in 1931, and then he just kind of disappears. I mean, the history on this man is really hard to find anyways. There's only 2 known pictures of him, and he only has a catalog of 29 songs. So, I mean, the history on him is really pretty foggy. Supposedly, this is when Robert, met the devil at the crossroads. So, as legend goes, Robert was, went to the crossroads to see, hey, if I can get this thing to work. So he starts playing a song, do, 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 do. And then, bam, devil shows up, takes his guitar, and I mean, I'm guessing just shredded on it. I don't know. But, he gave him the guitar back, and Robert comes back, and people's jaws just hit the ground when he starts playing. You were just garbage not that long ago, and now you come back and you're some beast on the guitar. I mean, so I would say this raised a lot of eyebrows when he came back, and he just is a master guitar. I mean, even this day and age, somebody who isn't that great at their craft, and then they disappear, for a couple months, maybe even a couple years, and come back and they're just, beast. There's no amount of training that, is going to be able to turn you into nothing into something, within a short period of time. It's not like Robert just didn't have any musical skills at all. A lot of people said that he was actually very good at harmonica. So, I mean, he did have some kind of skills, but guitar playing just wasn't his thing until he went to the crossroads and did his thing with the devil. In the mid 1930s, his new wife, of course, dies. So, I mean, he's had 2 wives die. It's mid 1930s. He finally, boom, gets a record deal. In 1936, he starts recording music for RCA record label. And this is when, basically he started, getting his name out. It really wasn't until the 60s where I kind of forget the name of the CD. I'm sure I'll post a picture of it. But in the 1960s is really when Robert blew up. I mean, this is, the whole love and peace and the whole hippie movement's going on. So, I mean, a lot of great musical acts, in my personal opinion, came out of the 60s and 70s. A lot of that music still, is big to this day. But, yeah, in the 60s is when people really started picking up on Robert Johnson and, seeing hey, this dude's good. But, you know, like, the music that he did create was like, I mean, okay, some of his song titles are Me and the Devil's Blues, If I Had Possession Over Judgment Day, Hellbound on My Trail, and Crossroads Blues. Now, if you're totally innocent of something, would you be posting songs like that? Or would you even think about it? Or, on the other hand, would you go on and put out music, you know, like that because you know that there's already kind of a buzz about your name and kind of like what happened to Robert? But, you know, no one will ever know. Maybe this guy did, maybe he didn't. You know, I mean, a lot of people get their names off of shock. You know, look at Marilyn Manson. You know, look at Ozzy Osbourne. Look at all these like big names that like people know them because of shock value. But anyways, a year later, Robert dies at the age of 27, and even his death is like a big mystery. Like, there was supposedly somebody that came forward and said that they killed him. Another story is that he died of syphilis, which was pretty much rampant at that time for, you know, the poorer communities. And, you know, they think that he might have gotten it from one of his parents, is one of, you know, the things that people believe. Or the second thing, which I personally think is what happened, is he was killed by a lady's husband who he happened to be flirting with. And, you know, I mean, you think about it, blues player back in the day, he's traveling around, you know, he's really good. So I'm sure a lot of women would want to come up to him and speak to him and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, this woman's husband happened to give Robert a drink. Hey, you know, here's a drink. And one of his friends smacked it away, said, you never accept a drink from somebody. But Robert, from what the story goes, is Robert accepted a second drink from this man. You know, so nobody really knows exactly how he died, but it is confirmed that he died at the age of 27. Now, from my understanding and all the research that I've seen, this man was like the starter for the 27 Club. Now, if you don't know about the 27 Club, it's when these artists, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, the list goes on, of these artists that they get big. You know, look at Kurt Cobain, look at Amy Winehouse. They get big and then game over. So, from my understanding, this man was the first member of that club, or you could call him the president. But yeah, man, hope you guys like this story. I'm going to be trying to post some more content for you guys. I'm already working on the next story. So yeah, man, hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace, love. I'm out.